Terminal Learning Objective, or TLO. Upon completion of this lesson, you will be able to identify the static discharge support equipment components, and you will understand the procedures used to remove static electricity from the windscreen and canopy of FA-18 and EA-18G aircraft. Enabling Objectives, or EOs. Identify the components of the static discharge support equipment. Identify the requirements for support equipment visual inspection and continuity checks. Identify the FA-18 windscreen and canopy electrostatic removal procedures to include staging and discharge. This lesson takes approximately 30 minutes to complete. Static electricity forms on the outside surface of the windscreen and canopy of Lot 12 and up FA-18 and EA-18G aircraft. Static electricity cannot be seen. Therefore, the actual amount of potential charge must always be assumed to be enough to cause a severe shock to anyone who comes in close proximity or makes contact with the windscreen or canopy. Static electricity is most prevalent after landing and after the aircraft has been parked in a windy environment. However, whenever a person comes in contact with a windscreen or canopy, one should assume that static electricity is present and precautions such as proper discharging should always be taken. Static discharge support equipment is comprised of three basic components: extension pole, discharge head, and grounding cord assembly. The user is able to reach the windscreen and canopy by means of an extension pole. The extension pole is made of fiberglass in order to insulate the user from the static electricity. The discharge head is made of polyester fabric which covers a foam core. Carbon thread conducts static electricity through the polyester fabric to the grounding snap which is sewn to the back of the discharge head. The grounding cord assembly provides a conductive path for static electricity to dissipate from the discharge head to the aircraft's metal structure. The grounding cord assembly consists of the following. Grounding snap provides a conductive connection from the discharge head to the grounding cord. Grounding prong provides a conductive connection to an aircraft ground point, and grounding cord conducts static electricity from the grounding snap to the grounding prong. Before use, a visual inspection and continuity check of the static discharge support equipment are required. Use the following steps to perform a thorough visual inspection of the static discharge support equipment. First, inspect the polyester fabric covering the foam core. Ensure that there is no sand or dirt embedded in the fabric, which could reduce the support equipment's ability to conduct static electricity or scratch the windscreen or canopy. Ensure there are no tears in the fabric. Second, inspect the rubber insulating liners on the static discharge pole. Check for any cracks, cuts, or tears in the material. Third, inspect the grounding snap on the back of the discharge head to ensure the snap is not separating from the polyester fabric. Fourth, inspect the grounding cord assembly for fraying and damaged or broken hardware. Use the following steps to perform a continuity check on the ground cord assembly. First, unsnap the grounding cord assembly from the polyester fabric on the discharge head. Second, set the multimeter to read ohms. Third, use the multimeter to check for continuity from the grounding snap to the grounding prong. An open loop reading indicates no continuity due to a broken wire. If this occurs, do not attempt to use the static discharge support equipment. A numerical readout indicates that continuity exists. If performing a post-flight discharge, ensure that the aircraft has come to a complete stop and is chocked. Ensure that the aircraft is grounded to one of the earth ground lugs. While waiting to perform the static discharge, take care to ensure that the support equipment does not come in contact with the ground, where it can pick up sand or dirt in the conductive polyester fabric. Ground the static discharge support equipment by plugging the grounding prong into a ground point on the aircraft. The preferred grounding points are located in the nose landing gear wheel well or beneath the fuel defuel door, door 8. These locations provide the greatest accessibility to the canopy and windscreen. Note: the aircraft itself must remain grounded to an earth ground lug during the discharge procedure. Do not remove the aircraft grounding cable in order to connect static discharge support equipment. Discharging, use the following steps. First, approach the aircraft and gently place the discharge head on the forwardmost surface of the windscreen. Carefully and deliberately wipe the windscreen and the canopy in its entirety on that side. Make sure that no area is left unwiped. Ensure that the top and aft portion of the canopy is wiped from that side. Do not tap or bounce the discharge head. Second, walk around the front of the aircraft to the opposite side and repeat the wiping process. Make sure to not enter the keep-out zone of the aircraft's engine intakes, regardless of whether the engines are running or not running. Improper discharging is the leading cause of shocks received from the FA-18 windscreen and canopy. Touching the windscreen or canopy in only one spot will discharge only that spot. All adjacent areas will remain fully charged. Static electricity from those areas will migrate to the discharged area and recharge it. You have completed the lesson on FA-18 static discharging. Review the following key points covered in the lesson. The components of the static discharge support equipment include the extension pole, the discharge head, and the grounding cord assembly. The pre-operational requirements for static discharge support equipment use are visual inspections and continuity checks. The FA-18 windscreen and canopy electrostatic removal procedures include support equipment inspection and continuity check, aircraft staging, grounding, and discharge.